stupid ambulance. Or was that a fire engine? I can never tell. Time for another Necron Tactics 2020 video, and today we're going to look at Necron Tomb Blade Loadouts. It's coming right up.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. And if you're new to the channel and you want to keep up to date with all things Necrons, then please subscribe and hit the bell button to turn on all notifications so you don't miss an upload. Tomb Blades. Where are you? Tomb Blades. Okay, so today we are going to have a closer look at the Necron Tomb Blades. We're going to look at the wargear options and also the gun options. Do we need to change how we're using Tomb Blades for 2020? After all, the meta has changed quite a bit. Space Marines, in particular Primaris Space Marines, are right at the top of the table, and that's what this series of videos is about. It's about having a look at our units and seeing if and how we can change them for the current meta. Now, Tomb Blades didn't get a points reduction in chapter approved, and probably the reason for that is that they're actually already a very good unit. Pretty rare for Necrons, of course, but with their -1 to hit, their toughness 5, their speed, their wargear options and their gun options, you can see why they didn't get a points reduction. But how should we load out our Tomb Blades? What are the best wargear options? Which guns are best? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so first of all, let's have a look at the wargear options. Now we have 3 pieces of wargear that we can choose from. We have shield vanes, nebuloscopes and shadow looms. Now, Tomb Blades don't have the infantry keyword, they are bikes. Now this means they can't benefit from My Will Be Done, which we're going to talk more about later, but it also means that they can't benefit from cover saves. This is something to really consider with Tomb Blades. They have a standard 4+ save, but you can increase that to a 3+, and you can even take a 5+ invulnerable save. Pretty useful when you can't buff them with a cryptech because they're not infantry. However, you can of course get RP bonuses, which is very useful. Any model can take a shield vane, and the shield vane gives us a 3+ save when normally it would be a 4+. Now bear in mind that's any model, so you don't have to take it on all of them, you can just take it on a selected few. Now the shadow looms and the nebuloscopes is slightly different. You have to choose one or the other, you can't take both. The shadow looms gives us a 5+ invulnerable save, and the nebuloscopes give us ignores cover to our guns. Now once again, that's on any model. So whilst you can't take both of these pieces of wargear on one model, you are able to select, pick and choose which ones have it in the unit. So that is a great advantage to be able to mix up our wargear. Now of course you could take Tomb Blades with no wargear options at all, just keep them really cheap. I mean, the difference between a 3+ save and a 4+ save if you're being hit with a -4 or -5 weapon really isn't going to make too much difference. However, I like to equip my Tomb Blades with a 3+ save with the shield vanes, and I actually like to put it on all of the models and then scatter in a few of the shadow looms. It gives me the security that every model's got a 3+ save, and of course if I get hit with weapons which are negating that 3+ save, then I have a few models there with the 5+ invulnerable save. Now if you really wanted to get the most out of your points, you would probably drop the shield vanes on the models which have the 5+ invulnerable save. But like I said, for a few points, and let's face it, shield vanes aren't that expensive, for a few points I just like to have it on all of the models. Now as for shadow looms, it's not shadow looms. Now as for nebuloscopes, they take away our enemy's cover save. Now that could be very useful, however We do have the Solar Pulse stratagem that we can use for 1 CP, doing the same thing. So arguably, Nebuloscopes are a waste of time. Now of course, Solar Pulse is going to use 1 command point each time you use it. So I suppose there is an argument for using Nebuloscopes. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments box below. Now for 10 points you could take 1 particle beamer. The particle beamer is strength 6, however it has no AP and you only get 1 gun, and that gives you 3 shots. Stupid ambulance. Was that fire engine? I can never tell. I suppose if you're trying to save a few points here and there, then the beamer could work. However, I don't think it's the best gun. Ooh, it's freezing out there. Okay, so in that case it leaves us with 2 options. Of course, the Tesla carbines or the Gauss blasters. Now the Tesla carbines give you the equivalent of 4 shots because it has 2 of these guns. And of course we've got exploding 6s on our 2 hit shots. However, like I said earlier, these aren't infantry, so you can't give them my will be done. Now of course, if you're in the Sotek dynasty, you can use the Sotek stratagem, methodological destruction. You do have to wound one of your enemy's units before you can use it, but once done, that gives you the +1 to hit, just like my will be done. A little bit more circumstantial, you'll have to make sure you target the units in the right way, but very useful. Now on the flip side, if you took these Tesla Tomb Blades in the Mefret dynasty, then when you get to half range, you're 12 inches, you'll be -1 AP. So exploding 6s and -1 AP at half range. Now the big advantage of Tesla is that you get your full amount of shots at 24 inches, so you'll have 4 shots at 24 inches. You don't necessarily want to be getting too close when you have that advantage to stand back and shoot lots of guns, especially with the exploding 6s. So I think that Tesla on the whole is better off in the Sotek dynasty, giving you that ability with the methodological destruction stratagem. However, we do have to have a look at our Gauss blaster option. That is a -2 AP compared to Tesla, 0 AP. Now like Tesla, we get 2 of these weapons, but they are rapid fire 1. So at 24 inches you're only going to get 2 shots per model as opposed to 4 shots from Tesla. However, it's rapid fire, so at half range, well, we're getting a lot more shots. The same amount of shots as Tesla minus the exploding 6s, but at AP -2. At close range, these guys are really going to hurt those Space Marines even if they're in cover. And of course, Tomb Blades move 14 inches, so close range for Tomb Blades really isn't a problem. -2 AP is already very good, but stick these in the Mefret dynasty, -3 AP, potentially using Talent for the Annihilation, allowing any 6s to hit that you roll generate 1 extra hit. Well, that could be pretty devastating. There's definitely a big argument for taking Gauss blasters on Tomb Blades in 2020. So as usual, it's a big debate between Gauss or Tesla. It's quite a common theme when it comes to comparing our Necron units. The truth is, both are good. Now like I said, Tomb Blades don't benefit from my will be done, so the Tesla really does tend to work better on the Sotek unit. However, of course, you do have the option for Mefret, giving you that -1 AP, so it's a good amount of shots, exploding, and -1 if you're in close range. But of course, the Gauss blaster against Space Marines in particular, with that -2 AP, is very good. The volume of dice is always very nice. The more dice your opponent has to roll, the more chance there is of something bad happening. However, sometimes quality over quantity can really prevail. Tesla carbines can certainly kick out a good amount of shots. Volume of shots is always very good against infantry, and of course Gauss blasters are awesome for taking out units with a decent save. If you're taking more than one unit, I think there's definitely room for 1 unit of Gauss and 1 unit of Tesla. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments box below. Now, I recently built my Necron Tomb Blades and I made some tutorial videos. I'll link you up to the playlist for those just there. And if you want to see last week's video on Necron Ghost Arc 2020 tactics, I'll link you up to that video just there. Beam me up.